Chapter 5. Ivy. My sister's car isn't on the stretch of highway she described to me, which means it was likely towed away. That means a ticket for vehicle abandonment and an impound fee that I don't have. I should be really upset right now because my bank account can't handle a new tire, much less extra costs on top of that. Strangely enough, though, it's barely on my radar. I don't give it a second thought as I drive home, past the suburbs, exit off the highway, and then head down a familiar gravel road. The rocks thunder against the undercarriage of my car, and I swerve heavily to the right, then left automatically. It's a private road, and the potholes here won't be fixed by the city, and they're big enough to lose a tire in. I'm on autopilot, though. I don't need to think as I'm driving, which is good, because my mind is fixated on Boone Price. I received a marriage proposal from a billionaire tonight. It's so strange. Not only that, I turned it down. Part of me wonders if that is crazy, if I shouldn't have agreed to it regardless, and walked away a few weeks later with whatever chunk of his money that the prenup would have gotten me. That's mercenary, but it's hard not to be mercenary when your bank account is empty and the bills keep piling up. I didn't take him up on it, though. For some reason, it's weirdly important to me that Boone not think I'm just after his bank account. Or rather, I'm interested in his bank account, but only in how it can help him purchase a home. And then, of course, I'm thinking about Boone again. Despite his uncouth appearance, Boone can be real charming. I ponder this as I drive up to the single wide that I call home. The lights are on, which means Winona's home, too. I should have bailed on dinner the moment he started hitting on me, but he never pushed so hard that I felt uncomfortable, just hard enough to let me know that he meant business. Once I firmly established that I would not be marrying him, we talked about houses and what he's looking for. Boone pretty much just wants one thing: grandiosity. So tonight, I'm going to start scouring the internet for the biggest, most impressive houses that South Texas has to offer. Right after I tell my sister about the bizarre day I've had. I park my car in front of the trailer and head inside. Winona's sitting tucked on the small plaid sofa in the trailer, a stack of books in front of her and her laptop open on a nearby table. She looks up at me, surprised, when I open the door. "You're home late?" "It has been a weird evening," I tell her, sitting down at the small built-in corner table that acts as a kitchen in our tiny trailer. "Did you change your flat? I passed the spot on the highway you said it'd be at, and I didn't see it." My sister looks upset. "No. Do you think someone stole it?" I shake my head. "More like it got towed by the city. Don't worry. We'll figure it out in the morning." I don't want Winona to stress about money. I'll do all the stressing when it comes to that. So I nudge the stack of books on the side table. "Did you find the right books for your classes?" "Sort of. They're an edition or 3 out of date, but I'm hoping the majority of the text is fine because they were also cheap. I'm willing to take that risk." She pats the stack of books. $12 for all of these. That's wonderful. Books are so expensive, and it was a worry we both had. One problem down. Yep. She crosses her legs and gives me an expectant look. "So, tell me about your day. Did you find another meth house in the suburbs?" "Weirder than that," I tell her. "I got a new client today." "And?" "And he took me out to dinner." Her brows go up. "And he's a billionaire." Her eyes get huge. "What? Get out!" "I'm serious. His name is Boone Price, and he works in oil. He told me all about it." This time, Winona gives me a skeptical look. "Reba, are you sure someone's not playing a joke on you?" "Call me Ivy, you doof. And I'm sure. Everything he told me was legit." I pat the table. bring your laptop over here." She does, and immediately we pull up dozens and dozens of web pages all about Boone Price, the Price brothers, and the 21st century Spindletop. In a way, I'm relieved to see that everything he told me was the truth, but now I'm also completely intimidated once again. He's all over Wikipedia as one of the richest men in the United States. The oil well is the biggest producer on U.S. soil in a century, and there are endless financial articles about wells and roughnecking and rigging and how people can become a billionaire like Boone Price. My sister skims a few articles and then goes back to Google and clicks on images. "What are you doing?" I ask. "Checking out his face." She squints at the photos, frowning at the laptop. "That's not him, is it?" She points out a picture, and I click on it to enlarge it. In the photo are 5 big, dirty men with equally scraggly beards wearing baseball caps. There's one in the center that's not smiling, and I nod slowly, then point him out. "That's Boone." "Wow, he looks not like a billionaire." She tilts her head. "More like a lumberjack that hasn't had a bath in about 10 years. That's not an inaccurate statement about Boone. I think he works directly on the wells sometimes, so I get why he's dirty. I'm sure he's not dirty all the time." "Was he dirty today?" "Yeah." "Mm-hmm." Her brows go up again. "So this big, dirty billionaire wants you to sell him a house? You said he was a new client, right?" I nod. Should I tell Winona the rest, or just let her assume it's just about a house? "Okay, but why you? I love you, Reba, but we both know you don't have the clout that the Jacks do. So why go to you?" Count on my clever sister to see right through things. She knows the struggles I've been having, and how the Jacks are always there to grab any worthwhile clients before I can make a move on them. "He saw my picture in the flyer and wanted to work with me. And go out with me." Her lip curls in horror. "Seriously? Oh my God, Reba!" "Ivy, whatever. You told him to fuck off, right?" When I hesitate, she gasps. "You are not serious. We do not need the money this bad. Look at this guy." She stabs her finger at the screen. "He looks like Pigpen from Charlie Brown, just aged a few years. Don't tell me you said yes." "He's not that bad in person." Her mouth falls open. "And besides, I didn't say that I was going to date him. I turned him down." "Darn right you did." "And then he proposed marriage." Her mouth falls open again. "What?" She waves a hand at me, indicating I should keep speaking. "I changed my mind. Tell me everything." So I do. I don't tell her about Winky Jack stealing my open house, or the fact that I have $40 in my bank account. My sister doesn't need to know how desperate the situation is, or how anxious I am about keeping us afloat. She just needs to worry about college and her classes. I can handle everything else. I always do. Instead, I focus my story on Boone Price showing up at the elegant Three Jacks office, trailing mud and dirt with every step. I tell her about how he reserved the entire restaurant on the hopes that I'd go out with him. I tell her about the picture and his rather forward suggestion that I should marry him. Winona just shakes her head, as if unable to believe the story. "I've heard billionaires are eccentric, but this story is really nuts. Crushing over a company advertisement? You're pretty, sis, but can't a billionaire have anyone? A model? An actress? Anything?" Her face is worried. "Are you sure this isn't a prank?" "I know. I wondered about it, too." I'm trying not to be hurt by my sister's open skepticism, because it is strange. He said I'm elegant, though, and he wants someone with a bit of class to them. It's so odd. I get the impression he's looking at this as more like a business transaction than an actual relationship. He's decided he needs a classy girlfriend, and I'm the one he wants. Of course, that doesn't explain the scorching looks he sent in my direction all night, but I don't tell my sister about that. Well, I'm glad you turned him down. She gives a small shake of her head, as if unable to believe it. We need money, of course, but not that bad. I say nothing. She doesn't realize how desperate I've been feeling lately, because I work hard to make sure she feels secure. Like she doesn't have to stress about going to college. I want her to have the choices I didn't have when I was 18. I want her to have a different path than I did when Mom ran off and Dad went to prison, and I was forced to drop out of high school a month before graduation. I want her to have fun and take the classes that excite her, and go to frat parties and whatever else she wants to do. I don't want her to spend her college years flipping burgers or scooping ice cream like I did, because that put food on the table and kept my sister out of foster care. And if I have to work a little harder to make ends meet, I do. I always do. The last thing I want is for Winona to stress like she is right now. Her face is unhappy at the thought of me being harassed, which I wasn't. It was a very determined client taking me out for dinner. I told him no, Winona. You don't have to worry about it. It's just a funny story, and I thought I'd share it. The worry on her face eases, and she smiles. You should pass him off to someone else, Reba. I don't want some creepster bugging you because he thinks you're pretty. He gave me his phone number and told me to call him with houses. I just won't call him. I soothe her. I don't think he lives super close to here, so it's unlikely I'll see him again. Okay. She reaches out and squeezes my hand. You'll get other commissions, I promise. This one just seems sketchy to me. I don't know if it's sketchy as much as it is just strange, but I nod. It's not worth upsetting my sister. I'll just scour Craigslist for some leads tonight and take some stuff to the consignment shop in the morning to get grocery money. No big deal. Maybe she's right. Maybe Boone, Mr. Price, does have something shady in mind, and I'm too gullible to see it. So, how was your day today? Did you register for classes? Winona's face lights up. Oh, Reba. Ivy, I warn. Ivy. You should see the college campus. It's so cool. I settle in and listen to my sister gush about her future, trying hard not to think about my own.
Boone. She won't call me. Pretty, classy Ivy Smithfield won't return my phone calls. I mean, it's to be expected. I ain't in her league. I ain't even close. Even though I have shitloads of money now, to some people I'm still a dirt-grubbing, uneducated redneck. You can't change some people's minds, and even dangling an enormous commission in front of Ivy's classy little upturned nose won't get her to give me the time of day. I'm disappointed. I thought we connected at dinner. She didn't leave early. She didn't toss her wine in my face. She talked to me, steering it back to business always, but she was pleasant and funny. I thought she'd call me in the morning, but she hasn't. It's been a week now, and I haven't heard a peep. Not a call, not a text, nothing. I reached out to her a few times and left voicemails. She didn't return those either. She's deliberately avoiding me then. I ain't even mad. I'm just disappointed. Did I want Ivy to fall into my arms and throw all her clothes off? Fuck yeah. But the fact that she's not going to come easy just means that I've got a little bit longer to wait before she's in my bed. That's all right. I can be a patient man if it's for something I truly want. After 7 days of silence, though, I get tired of being patient and set my brothers on it. Well, I text Seth. He's wearing a fancy suit that he recently purchased. Seth's the one that likes nice clothes, and is sitting in the lobby of Three Jacks Real Estate. Even shaved his beard and slicked his hair down all nice and neat like he's going to a wedding instead of a real estate office. Clay wanted to go and spy for me, but we look a lot like my dad and more like full brothers instead of half. Seth's blonde and baby-faced and 8 years younger, so he's the perfect one to go in disguise. Seth. She ain't here, I don't think. I'm sitting with some lady named Farrah, and she's telling me all about this building, historic or some shit. Yeah, they did the same to me. Everyone there's damn proud of that shit. To me, it's just old. I text Seth back. BP. Where's Ivy? Seth. Ivy's desk is across from hers, I think. Empty. Lunch, maybe? I glance at the clock on the dashboard. 10 in the morning. Ain't lunch, I send back. Seth. Maybe another client? Hey, you think I should buy a house? BP. I don't give a fuck. Seth. Some of these places are pretty sweet. I need a bachelor pad for the little mamas to hang at. I rub my face, frustrated. Seth is the youngest of my stepbrothers and also the one that can't be serious for a moment. Maybe it was a bad idea to send him. I stare at the street sign ahead of me, scowling. I'm parked at the curb a few blocks down so Ivy doesn't think I'm stalking her. I mean, it's not really stalking if I send someone else to do it. And really, I ain't gonna bother her if she just doesn't want my money. I just want to know she's alive and showing up to work. If she is, it means she's not laid up in a hospital somewhere, and I don't want that at all. I'll figure something out. Seth. Wait, she's here now. Just came in. BP. She look okay? Seth. You're right. She's pretty. Amazing legs. I growl at my phone. I want to see her legs for myself. But is she okay? Seth. She looks tired. Just sat down, keeping her arm clenched. A moment passes. Seth. Farrah is chatting with her. She donated blood. That's a random thing to happen midday. She got any clients there? Seth. Nope. BP. I'm coming in then. I've never been one to fear confrontation. All I want's an answer. If Ivy's ignoring me because she never wants to see me again, I'll go away. If there's something else going on, I need to know why she's not answering my calls. She's the one that I want. It's all decided. The only thing I need is her to realize it. So I get out of my truck and walk the 2 blocks over to their snooty little office. I didn't dress for the part like Seth did. I'm in a t-shirt and jeans and wearing my favorite hat. At least I'm not covered in West Texas dust this time. I go into the office and the receptionist's look tightens as she claps eyes on me. I'm here to see Ivy Smithfield, I drawl. Did you have an appointment? Yep, I lie. It's kinda an appointment. She promised to call me back and never did. In my mind, that counts. The receptionist nods stiffly and picks up her phone. Shall I let her know who's waiting? I shake my head slowly. Nah, just get her up here. Her eyes narrow at me. Miss Smithfield, you have a client waiting in the lobby? She sets the phone down and her mouth purses as she looks at me. I bet if this place had security, she'd have called it on me already. She's got that look about her. Like a guy ain't allowed to be low class in her lobby. It'd be funny if it wasn't so damn ridiculous. But then Ivy walks in. A cool drink of water. She's so fucking gorgeous, she takes my breath away. Her hair's pulled up in a high bun, and she's wearing a beige suit jacket with a dark red skirt and tall fuck-me shoes. She looks so damn sexy I want to throw her over my shoulder and run off with her. Instead, I just smile broadly like this was all part of my grand plan. She looks surprised to see me, and then guilty. But she recovers quickly, moving forward and extending her hand toward me. Mr. Price, it's nice to see you. Is it? I ask, and instead of shaking her hand, I raise it to my mouth to kiss her knuckles. Her face flushes bright with color, almost as red as her skirt. I half expect her to pull away, but she lets me kiss her hand, and I make sure to brush my thumb over that soft skin afterward. I wasn't expecting any clients today. Well, then you got lucky I showed up, didn't you? Would you like to sit down in one of the conference rooms and talk? She's all business as she pulls her hand from my grip, her smile as charming as ever. Nah, I just want to know why you won't return my phone calls. Work. She gestures at the office. It's been insanely busy this week. I look round at the office. Looks rather empty to me. In fact, Ivy and me are the only ones in the lobby. I have a sneaking suspicion that Seth's probably the only client here. Sure looks busy. She blushes and bites her lip, glancing around. Time to stop beating round the bush. I give her my most disarming grin. Is it me? Did I come on too strong? She arches a perfect eyebrow. Do you know how to come on as anything other than strong? I laugh, because that's a fair point. I love this woman's brain. Was kinda hoping you'd be dazzled by my determination and look past the fact that you're too good for me. Her teasing look falters, and for a moment, her expression is soft and wistful. She is pretty. You shouldn't say things like that. The truth? No, that you're not good enough. She leans in, a little smile on her face, her voice as low as if she's whispering to me. I don't know if anyone has pointed this out to you, Mr. Price, but you're a billionaire. No shit, I drawl. I lean in too. And I told you to call me Boone. Her cheeks are still bright with that pretty flush of hers that happens when I flirt, and she's not leaning away. I realize, seeing her, that she likes me. She likes me, and maybe she doesn't want to because of her job. That's fair. That also means I have an opening, though, and I'm ruthless enough to take it. You know I haven't changed my mind about that house, I tell her. Or the golf course. Ivy looks torn. She crosses her arms over her chest and glances round, then moves in closer to me again. Boone, I don't know that I'm the right realtor for you. It's just complicated. Well, I think you're the right one for me. I don't want anyone else. I told you that. I want to put my arms around her waist and pull her slim body against me. She's a little pale today, but so beautiful and elegant it makes me ache. I haven't ever wanted anything as badly as I want this woman, and I feel like she's dancing just out of reach. I need to figure her out. Figure out the right words that will unlock her reservations and make her fall into my arms. Maybe I'm just not persuading her enough yet. So I lean in close again. You want me to double your commission? I'm more than willing to do so. Her eyes go wide. That's not necessary. She pauses as another man comes sauntering into the lobby. Hello, Jack. Her voice grows cool and her smile a little more stiff. Her eyes meet mine before she gestures at the man in the suit approaching us. Boone, this is Jack Jackson. He's one of the head realtors of Three Jacks. I nod at him, narrowing my eyes. This her boyfriend or something? She said she didn't have anyone, but this guy's showing a lot of interest in the fact that I'm standing in the lobby with her. Something I can help you with? Jack Jackson says, offering me his hand. I know this guy's type immediately. He's a slick motherfucker, the smile on his face oily and sly. No, I growl. I want to step between him and Ivy, who has a distressed look on her face. Her entire body language has changed, too. She was leaning into me before, and now she's pole straight and nervous. This guy bothers her, and it makes me feel protective. Jack looks surprised at my vehement reaction. Are you a client of ours, Mr.? He trails off, expecting me to answer. To my surprise, Ivy steps in before I can. She moves in front of me and puts an arm around my waist. Her smile is brilliant as she beams at Jack. Actually, this is my boyfriend, Boone. Boyfriend? Hot damn! My hand slides around her waist, and again I get that possessive, caveman feel roaring through my skull as I touch her. This woman belongs in my arms. It's where she's meant to be. She pats my chest with her other hand and snuggles against me. He's taking me out to lunch. Jack just gives us a slow nod. Nice to meet you, Boone. He focuses on Ivy again. Let me know if any walk-ins show up and they're at my particular level. Of course. Her smile doesn't waver, but I can feel her tense against me. He turns away and then pauses. Oh, and Ivy, if I were you, I'd probably see more sales if I spent less time going to lunch with friends. He gives her a thin smile, nods at me, and then walks away again. Ivy remains in my arms for a long moment, as if expecting that dickbag to turn around. Since she's there, I lean in, practically nuzzling that tempting little ear of hers. Would you be offended if I punched him in the throat? I can feel her shiver, and it sends a ripple of arousal right through me. I wish someone would, she murmurs, and slowly steps out of my arms. You want to tell me what that's about? I imagine he's just trying to hit his quota for the month. It's been a slow summer for him, and he's not happy. Fill his quota, or take yours, I guess. Maybe that's why she plastered herself to me. She hasn't given up on my commission. She nods again, a pained expression on her face. I'm filled with protective outrage. Are these assholes bullying my woman? And she's too classy to set them in their proper place, I imagine. She's a fucking lady, and they're taking advantage of that. Remember how I told you I wanted to buy a golf course? Yes. I'm adding to that list. I think I want a real estate office, too. She gives me a puzzled look. You do? Want me to tell you about it over the lunch you said we were about to go have? She bites her lip and looks back at Jack, who's walking away a lot slower than most people. I shouldn't, she whispers. I'll get in trouble with the boss. But I'll text you later tonight, and we'll talk, all right? Really? 'Cause you haven't been a big fan answering my texts lately. I know, she says quickly, and grabs my hands, squeezing them. That impulsive little move warms my heart and sends a bolt of lust right through my groin. But please, I will this time, okay? You can come up here and harass me in the morning if I don't. Fair enough. And don't talk to any other realtors, all right? She looks at me with those big, pleading eyes. I move forward, since Jack's still watching us from afar, and I put a finger under Ivy's chin. Darling, you didn't believe me when I said you were the only thing I wanted? You should.
Ivy. In a way, it's a good thing that Jack starts throwing his weight around and scaring Boone off. It gives me time to go back to my desk and recuperate. I'm still feeling a little faint from this morning's plasma donation, my second in a week, and I eat cookies and sip orange juice until I feel more like myself. Farrah's been flirting with a client sitting across from her for well over an hour, and never mind that he's half her age. She's laying it on thick. She must smell a commission in sight. I smell a commission in sight, too, but I'm texting mine after work tonight. I nibble on a peanut butter sandwich cookie and pull up my email on my laptop, though I'm not really paying attention to my inbox. I'm still thinking about Boone. When I saw Jack stroll into the lobby, that hungry look on his face, I knew what he wanted. Boone. More specifically, Boone's commission. The moment he'd have smelled that Boone was a billionaire, he'd have been on him, and I'd have been shuttled into the background. Jack would have come up with some reason as to why I couldn't possibly help Boone out, and then I'd be pushed out of the picture. Maybe I'd have to do inventory on coffee filters in the break room. Maybe I'd have to cold call old clients and ask them for leads. There's a million types of busy work, and Jack knows plenty of them to send in my direction. The moment I saw him approach, though, I had to change tactics. Boone's mine. Well, my commission, anyhow. I feel all hot and flustered just thinking about him. He wasn't dirty today, but his hair was still wild under his cap, sticking out on the sides, and that bushy beard was as intimidating as ever. His eyes were bright and sexy, though, and his flirtiness makes me feel weak in the knees. I feel an intense pull every time he speaks, and I'm attracted to him, despite all the hair and his blunt way of speaking. I might have panicked when Jack swooped in, and so I said the only thing I could think of that would scare him off, that Boone was my boyfriend and not my client. My sister would die of second-hand embarrassment. just won't tell her that I've decided I'm going to take Boone on then, because I need the money. I need it almost as much as all the plasma I've been donating for pitifully small amounts. It would help out so much, and I don't care if my sister thinks the situation is sketchy or that Boone has an ulterior motive. I suspect his motive is to try and get me into his bed. And the thought of that fills me with a tingly sort of excitement instead of disgust. I have no idea why I'm attracted to him. He's not my type. He's big and brutish and hairy, but there's something about him that draws me like a moth to a flame. I tell myself I need to go slow, though. Keep it professional. I won't see Boone again in person until I have a house to show him. As I finish my cookie, Jack heads over to my desk. He's got a slight smile on his face, but there's a cold look in his eyes. "Didn't go out to lunch, then?" "No, I've got too much to do here," I lie, giving him an equally fake smile. I told my boyfriend I'd just catch up with him later. Jack crosses his arms over his chest and comes to loom over my desk. "That's what I want to talk to you about, Ivy." "Oh?" "While we certainly can't tell you who you should date in your private life, that's your own personal business, of course, but we have concerns about those personal relationships showing up here at work." "Oh?" I repeat, because I don't know what else to say. Where is he going with this? "We like to present a certain caliber of potential to any client that should walk in the door. That's why we have this expensive office, and why it's been professionally decorated by the best that San Antonio has to offer. That's why we wear suits every day. That's why we insist our realtors drive the company town cars if their own cars are not up to our standards. You know this." I do know. I'm one of the realtors that has to borrow a car whenever I visit clients. I'm one of the realtors that bought suits at Lord & Taylor even though I couldn't afford it. 3 Jacks is all about appearances. "Are you saying that my boyfriend doesn't look like he should be here?" Jack raises his eyebrows. "I didn't say that." Not out loud. Behind me, Farah and her client have gotten very quiet. There's always very little privacy in an office, but today I wish my desk was just a little bit further away from hers. And really, what Jack is saying is so damn snobbish. I see nothing wrong with his appearance. Heck, today he wasn't even dripping dirt on the floors. That's a bonus. I didn't say there was. I'm just saying we need to consider appearances, that's all. I'll keep that in mind, I tell him coolly. Thank you, Jack. I'm glad we had this little talk, Jack tells me, raps twice on the end of my desk as if the matter is settled, and then walks away. Oh, me too, I mutter. I almost miss the soft chuckle of Farah's client. At least someone hears the irony in my voice. Ivy. Hi, Boone. This is Ivy. BP. Well, this day just got better. Ivy. Oh? BP. I was half convinced you'd blown me off again. Ivy. I promised you I'd text, remember? BP. You promised that last time, too. BP. Not busting your balls about that. Just pleased to hear from you. Though we could Snapchat if you'd rather see my face. Ivy. I don't know how to Snapchat. And isn't that for dick pictures? BP. Only if you want one. Ivy. I don't want one. Ivy. I'm trying to sell you a house, not get pictures of your dick. BP. I understand. You want the real thing. I get that a lot. Ivy. OMG. I just want to show you a house, you freak. BP. I know. Just busting your balls again. Ivy. And you wonder why I don't call you back. BP.
Nah, I knew why you didn't call me back. I came on too strong.
Ivy. At this point, I'm convinced you only come in one setting. BP.
Might be the case, but it gets me what I want. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Ivy. Of course you wouldn't. BP.
Can't help it if I'm decisive.
BP.
And if you're truly offended, I'll stop hitting on you, and we can just be all business.
Ivy. Yes, let's talk about business. BP.
So you're saying you're offended, then?
Ivy. Look at this picture of this great house I found online. I can get a showing for the day after tomorrow. BP.
Do you always avoid the question when you're feeling shy?
Ivy. Shy? Ivy. You are an impossible man to text with. BP.
But you didn't say if you were offended. Do you want me to stop flirting with you?
Ivy. House? Ivy. See the house? Ivy. Pretty house? BP.
Fine, fine. I know when to back off.
Ivy. No, you don't. But look at the house pictures and let me know what you think. Ivy. It only has 8 bedrooms, but it's 20,000 square feet and on 20 acres. $2.5 million is the price listed. BP.
That's cute.
Ivy. What's cute? BP.
It's kind of cheap, ain't it? I shit $2.5 million out over breakfast. Hell, before breakfast.
Ivy. Gross. Also, it has an enormous pool and a wine cellar, too. Ivy. And $2.5 million is not cheap. But I thought we'd start on the low end to see what you were looking for. It's a good starting place. BP.
You're the boss. If you want to go look at dumps, we can go look at dumps, as long as I get to go with you.
Ivy. 20,000 square feet and 8 bedrooms is not a dump. Ivy. Are you messing with me? BP.
Do you realize how much money I have? How much I can blow on bullshit and not bat an eye?
Ivy. You're rich. I get it. I'll go back to the drawing board. BP.
No, we can stick with this one. Do you like it?
Ivy. The house? BP.
Sure, the house.
Ivy. Do I like the house? BP.
Yes.
Ivy. I won't know until I see it, but it looks like it has a lot of potential. We can take a look at it and see if it meets your needs. Ivy. Shall I tell them you're interested in seeing it? BP.
You're gonna be there, right?
Ivy. Of course. BP.
Then, yep, I want to see it.
Ivy. Fabulous. BP.
Can't wait to see you.
Ivy. I think you'll like the house. BP.
Oh, are we back to talking about the house?
Ivy. Gotta go. BP.
I'm not giving up on you.
Ivy. Somehow that does not surprise me.